Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Ashley at Hereventions, and I'm back with another video. This video is called Girl, You Have to Heal Again, or Man, You Gotta Heal Again. What does that mean? That means that you have either had a bad past relationship, whether intimate, friendship, family situations, any experience that you have had that could have caused trauma or that you had to take a step back to heal from again. And why we say again is because it's not the first time, okay? We have to sometimes take a step back and look at our lives and see what patterns exist. Because if we have to keep taking a step back to heal again, that means that we're doing something over and over again, or attracting certain situations, certain people, or just being in connection with people, situations that have us having to heal again, right? Why must we need to heal again? We possibly have given someone, something, situation, um, too much of our energy and attention, and it possibly could have drained us, draining us from our selves, draining our souls. Our soul is our mind, will, and emotions. Sometimes when we connect with others, we give them too much of us, or we get too invested in them and forget about our own selves, our own self-care, and the number one thing, boundaries. Right? We forget that we have boundaries, or we never ever had boundaries, or we allow them to step over our boundaries and we act like it's okay. And when you do that, you cause so much damage and harm to yourself without even realizing it until it's too late, when you got to completely step back and do what? Heal all over again, right? And why we say again is because it must have happened more than once already, right? So that's why we take a step back and we examine where we are and examine our lives, right? We taking a step back and we go, hey, how did we get here again? We got here again because we met the similar person that hurt us prior to this one. We didn't have boundaries. We did not stay true to who we were. And most likely we didn't really vet the person out the way we should have, right? Sometimes it's family and you may be nervous to fall back from them or take a step away from or call them out on their stuff. So sometimes you're wrapped in a trauma, unwillingly, or you're so eager to be with somebody or get in a relationship. I can speak to that. And you just kind of forget that you have boundaries, or you just get really invested in a person because you want it to work so bad that you neglect your own self, your own self-worth, your own needs, and who you really are, which causes trauma, which also causes pain, and it causes you to have to heal again. And so those are the things that can get you to a place where you have to heal again that you possibly don't want to. And then it can also be connected with someone of narcissistic personality or traits, right? And then you have to recover from that abuse. Now, when I step back from my situation, this last situation was possibly the most severe narcissistic abuse I have ever experienced. I possibly experienced it before because as I didn't know what the heck was going on until I was out of it. And even when I was out of it, I still was trying to figure out what the heck was going on. I started to look up stuff. And then, when I was sharing it with, close people who spoke and said they experienced it too, I'm like, oh, this is a thing. It has a name. Like, I didn't know all of that because I really didn't think that I was going through it. So then when I look back, I'm like, okay, the crazy thing about it is I experienced this narcissistic abuse before on smaller levels, not knowing what it was, right? Just thinking, oh, the person is not for me. We're not connecting well. That's how I should be. It's just not working out. We don't connect well. Let's just move on. I never wanted to cause any problems. I never wanted to make nothing a big thing. I just moved on. It didn't work out. Yes, it hurt me. I took some time to myself to recover from it. And then, we go back out and we try again, right? Because we're human beings. We love to be connected to people, as we should. And so we go reconnect, not thinking what really was the cause outside of we just wasn't a good fit, or we wasn't as compatible as, we thought from at the beginning. And so this time, because it was so severe, I just had to figure it out. I had to see what it was. And then I also had to see, how did I get there to attract that, right? Or have I ever experienced it before or attracted before? And because I have, it just was on a smaller scale. It was like, wow, all I did was, every time I got back into a situation like that, it got worse. Like the abuse got worse. It enhanced each time with each person, right? And so that's what I came to realize when I took the time to take a step back, leave what I was going through, and sit and be like, okay, I'm never the person to act like I'm Miss Princess and did nothing wrong. Never the person to act like that. I play a part in everything, right? The part of not keeping my boundaries, right? The part of knowing and seeing red flags and still going with the flow, thinking it could change. The part of trying to be superwoman. I can change them. I can heal them. I can make them better. They will change for me. That part. Drop a comment below, because I know you girls can and guys can relate. And so I play a part in that way, right? And then maybe the way I am clashed with them and made them want to, either show their true colors, show the narcissistic behavior, traits, or whatever, because maybe I was a trigger to that. I don't know. I go back and I analyze the whole entire situation to see where my fault could have been, as long as with theirs. I don't just put the blame on one complete person, right? But I did experience it, unfortunately, and it was very severe and very uncomfortable. And so there we go. When we look at it, we're like, again, when are you going to learn your lesson? Okay. Now what I can say is I learned the biggest lesson I could ever learn is that to do things God's way, right? Not my way. Why are we doing things God's way? Because Jeremiah 29:11 says, I have the plans for you to give you a hope and a future. I already know the plans that I have for you, right? So sometimes we don't think that things that we go through was planned, but it was. God knew every situation you was going to encounter, how many times you was going to hurt yourself, the things you was going to do that you shouldn't be doing. He already seen it, okay? If you're in, you're in, and if you're not, you're not, right? So when we look at other people, we see certain things and people like, oh, well, look at her. She was so quick to get married and do all of these things. Maybe she was aligned with God. Maybe she was following his path. Maybe she was not. But also maybe she has some strong boundaries of what she was and was not going to tolerate. And so once you put that out there at the beginning of any relationship or situationship, it's either the person going to stay there and follow those, or you're going to separate at the beginning. So you don't get to the point where you have to what? Heal again. So that's what we need to do more of, is setting those boundaries, sticking to our boundaries at the beginning, saying what we will and will not tolerate, what we're looking for, what we're not looking for, and how we choose to be together and grow together. And is it on one accord, right? Do we have the same wants, needs, and values, right? And will we both want to support one another and learn each other's love languages? Will we want to do those things, right? And that's for relationships. And then, about other situationships, with family or friends and things like that, that's the same thing. You should have boundaries between them all. Yes, the family and a friend might be a little bit more closer to you, depending on length of time. And okay, you was born into it. But you still should have your boundaries, right? You don't want people taking over for you. And I know for me, since my innocence was taken away at such a young age, I don't know if I ever really had boundaries. I think the biggest boundary I had, which normally is always too late, is that I tend to wake up and not stay where I'm not feeling valued, where I am suffering, and where I'm not at peace. I will just end it and find my way, as much as it will hurt. And I might take too long to do that, but I definitely will wake up one day, whatever that one day is, and walk away from something that is not beneficial to me. So That's one thing I can say. But as far as the boundaries goes, that is something that I have now, and I'm super confident in more than ever. I think before I wasn't, I wanted it so bad that, and then I would bend and twist what I really wanted, just so I could fit and let it work, even if it wasn't. And that's with everything, friendships, family, and even relationships. And so now where I am at this place in my life and the walk that I've been on, and, how I have been really working on myself and finding things out about me, and what I really want and how I want to show up, be perceived, and what I want my relationships to look like moving forward. The boundaries is there, and at this point I don't care if I'm losing people or not. I think that was another thing. I feared losing people if I spoke up, if I said I'm not doing this, and I was stern, and I wasn't clear and direct. I felt like I would lose people. And the crazy thing is that trickled down in a lot of areas of my life, which isn't the best, as I started to see now after all of these years. But better now than never, right? Okay, so I'm moving along. Also, I realized that, not following God's way leads to disaster. Okay? Follow God's. My advice to you is, if you're dealing with anything like what I've already just been speaking about, follow God's way. Keep God at the forefront and center of your life. Speak to Him over calling your friend first. Excuse me. Pray to Him. Ask Him for guidance. Ask Him for signs. Ask Him if this person is a counterfeit or a real, authentic person. Ask Him, is this the person that He sent for you, that He made just for you? Wait for the answer. Stop rushing to be all with somebody and be committed and all of these things so quickly without really testing the spirit, if you will. What is testing the spirit? Testing the spirit is actually, I feel like, will go through a whole entire year, seeing somebody through every situation, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly, with their friends, without their friends, how they are at work, what they come home and tell you about work, how they talk about people, how they communicate, what their character is, how they carry themselves. When you guys are together, can you really have an intimate conversation and be vulnerable and honest and open with them? All of those things, are they who they say they are? Do their words match their personality and the things that they do? Are they really telling you the truth about everything about them or not? That's how you test the spirit. That's how you really see if someone is a great person or not. Yeah. And so when you don't follow God's way, most of the time things will turn into a disaster, right? Meaning that you could go through abuse, all forms of abuse, physical, mental, spiritual, financial, abuse, because you opened the door for the enemy to come and attack you when you're not doing it God's way. And anything is up for grabs at that point, right? Anything can happen. Anything could come inside of your door because it's open, right, and not closed. Your walls, if they will tumble down if they're not up and solid. I mean, boundaries. And once someone gets past that, sometimes there's no turning back till you completely wake up and you go back God's way, right? So go following God's way, just talking to Him, praying with Him, following His commandments, living according to His will, according to His word, and being all in with God, right? Being all in with Him. Daily Bible study, daily prayer, and you will hear from Him. Again, He know the plans for your life. He will direct your steps. He will protect you as long as you believe in Him. You believe in His word, and you stay in His word and basically live by His word. And so He can protect you in those situations. He can protect you from meeting those type of people, from being in those situations. But if you are not doing it God's way, His hands is like off. So I've learned that the hardest way ever. And so I was always like into myself and wanting what I want and didn't care. And so now I'm waiting for God. I'm listening to God, and He's going to lead me the right way. I'm not going to jump and do what I want to do for me and be selfish. So most of the time you also can see red flags, right? And when you talk to your friends or close family about it, they most likely give you their honest opinion, right? People told me don't go. It's too far. What am I doing? It's a test from God. Did I vet them out, know them long enough? A whole bunch of stuff, right? And I was just so, once I make a decision, I'm like, I'm adamant. It's like whatever y'all saying is in one ear, out the other, and I'm not hearing it, which is bad. And so now what I realize is that all the time you don't go to friends and stuff for advice. Again, you go to God first. But if you do have a trusted someone who is also, a God-fearing woman or man, and you want to, confide in them or ask for their opinion, sometimes take a minute and really listen and analyze what they're saying to the situation, because it could really help save you from trauma, heartache, pain, or whatever that might come of it. Because most of the time, if you're going to talk to somebody like that, they've been close to you, they know you, they feel like they know what can be best for you in at least that situation, and you should at least listen a little closely. And again, sometimes God talks to you through people. So, say you confided in them and God could have given them that message, and that could have been a warning to you, but you want to not listen, okay? And if you're not listening, then what does that do, right? I know for me, my hard-headed behind gave me a sore behind. So anywho, that's another way that you can do that as well. Also, remember that every time you have to heal yourself, you delay yourself from God's assignment. Every time you have to heal from a situation, from trauma, from pain, from anything that is not good, you delay yourself from God's assignment. How you do that? One, you're not yourself. So how could God use you in any way to do His work, to bless others, to be a value to others, to give value, right? Your assignment to be married, to meet your husband, to start your family. How? When you have to build yourself back up, you have to heal your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions, meaning your entire existence, your entire body, because you were hurt and you're not you. And you can't operate in pain from a great standpoint to be influencing any other person or anyone else. How can you be used when you're in that low state, right? You're not having the confidence you once had, right? Your esteem is low, right? You're not feeling yourself. You barely want to get out the bed. You're a little depressed. You're not you. You're not who God created you to be, because you're dealing with the past hurt, pain, and trauma. So it's almost impossible for Him to use you. And now once you're healed from that, He can use you in the best way to share your testimony and your story about how you overcame that, which can also help someone else who may just have went through it, may go through it, or may have experienced it and need some advice or guidance on how to overcome it, leave it, get out of it, and rebuild themselves back up. So sharing your story definitely can, He can use you after you have realized, learned the lesson, and you're able to share what you did to overcome the trauma you experienced or the situation you had to go through. And most of the time, I know for me, and possibly you may think this as well, that why me, right? Why me? Why these things keep happening to me? Why do I keep attracting these people? Why do I keep putting myself in pain? I know that's the first thing that I said. Why do I keep hurting myself? Right? I think it's a song called Identity. I can't remember the who wrote it, who sings it. But I used to sing that song I still sing it. Like, God, please change my identity because I keep hurting myself. And I don't want to do that no more. There's another song as well that just came to my mind that I was thinking about. I think it's Leandra, and it's called Deliver Me. That's another song that I listened to that helped me through the situation. It really got me through, Deliver Me. And it's another song. I can't remember it verbatim, but it basically was saying, like, I need you because I keep hurting me. And I don't want to continue to hurt me anymore. So I need you, God. I need you, Jesus. I need you, Lord, because I keep hurting me and I don't want to anymore. And so that's where I was at. I'm like, I'm hurting me. We go around and we talk about all these people that did all these things to us. And you did these things to you because you chose to go this way when God's path is this way. Okay? And you want to go this way. So once you do that, you start hurting yourself instantly. You going off the path that God has for your life. He directs your steps. And so I had to come to the conclusion, like, I keep hurting me. Wow, that's deep. I keep hurting me because I want to do what I want to do and not what God told me to do, or not following God's word on what I should do. Because when you go through the Bible, when you look in the Bible, it is your guidebook. Everything that we should be doing here on earth is in that Bible. It talks about everything. Relationships, marriage, finances, business, entrepreneurship, healing, sicknesses, infirmity, diseases, foods to eat. You know, God's food is in the Bible. It talks about so much stuff. Your whole life could be through the Bible. We tend to talk to friends and ask everybody else when it's right in His word. And so I don't want to hurt me anymore. I don't want to hurt me anymore. And so I am following God's way. Is it easy? No, it ain't. Okay? All the stuff I used to do that was so much fun. I can't do them like that anymore. I have to do them a different way or not do them at all if they're not according to His word. And so that is a lot to take in. That is a lot to stick with and be consistent. But I am challenging myself because as much pain as I went through, I don't want to go through that again. And so I choose Him above all else. And every time you have to heal again, you re-traumatize yourself. Re-traumatize yourself. Trauma is a big thing. And, you know, if I'm honest, I feel like my whole life was trauma. Since I was a little child, I just went through so much instability and changes that it was traumatic. And I didn't realize how traumatic it was until I really became an adult. When I'm trying to find my own way, right? When I'm raising my own child, when I'm going in and out of relationships, and when I'm trying to be stable in a home, I didn't realize why I just kept, everything just wasn't working the way I wanted it to work. And it's a pattern. So I say take a step back and look at your life. And if I knew this before, I would have did this a long time ago and saved myself a whole bunch of heartache and pain. Anywho, I'm glad to know it now. Better late than never. Because my whole life was trauma, if no trauma happened, I felt weird. It was just like, oh, this is good. Nothing's going wrong. This is weird. You know how you're so used to being hurting yourself, or just being angry, or always having an issue, or having a problem, or beef with somebody, or toxic conversations. You just in it and in it and in it and in it. You so used to it, you don't even realize how damaging it is. And so when I took 6-7 months now we going on of like minimum to no contact with family and friends to just sit with me and God. OMG. Again, I was my own weapon formed against me. I'm sitting here like when certain stuff came up and I'm just like, wow, I would have said this, I would have did this, I was sitting here re-traumatizing my own self. One situation happened to me, I'm talking about it every day for 2 weeks and it's just so negative. Why are you recreating the trauma? Because you're so used to being in trauma, you don't know how to not. Wow, that's deep. And so when you re-traumatize yourself, because it's so strong, it takes a while to heal. A while to heal. All these times I was like, oh, I'm healed. Yes, I've been praying, I've been doing this, I'm healed. I had went through my phone recently and I realized that 3 or 4 times I was in the same space, leaving traumatizing situations, going to God, going to church, being committed in Bible study, and all in. I even went to a Christian university for my master's. 2012, all up in church. 2015, dwindled down. Back in the joint, 2019, dwindled down again. Now here we are in 2020. I started 2024, so I'll say that in 2025. Back at it again. Another pattern, not being consistent with something that I said I was going to be all in with God, because what? Temptation is a whoop. Temptation comes along and get me off track, and here go Curious George. Let me go see what that's about. That was me. No more. I'm so happy that I took this time to myself. Like, I'm just so excited because now I can see so clear about me. You sit here and you blame everybody else, but what about you? Really take a step back and analyze yourself. Sit in a mirror with yourself. Sit in silence with yourself. Sit in your thoughts. Whatever you got to do to pull out those things that have been patterns in your life and holding you back from being your best self, from performing at your highest level. Because that's all this did. That is all that this did with me having to heal again and re-traumatizing myself, was taking me away from the highest self that I know I can be, taking me away from the assignment that God had on my life. Every time I had to restart over, every time I kept letting temptation get me, every time I kept being selfish and putting me before God and my wants and needs, I re-traumatized. Now I'm re-healing. Here I am going to be 36, not married, don't have the things that I want. Why? Because I kept re-traumatizing myself, having to re-heal myself, taking me away from God's assignment, which is delaying my process to get into things that I want, because I can't be who God made me to be at my highest level, because I got to keep rebuilding myself back up from being beat down, from decisions I made. Oh, but you didn't know that I didn't know that that situation was going to turn out like that, or they were going to do that to me, or this was going to happen to me. I did not know, but it was the decision that I made that wasn't of God, which I thought it was at the one point. But if you ain't all in, you don't know for real, is what I've learned. So anyway, how are we going to start re-traumatizing ourselves? Being disciplined, setting boundaries to give and receive the best. And what? Keeping God as number one, and keeping the relationship vertical. Not being enticed by people, by material things, by the fun, by whatever. We're not doing that, because that's the beginning that leads to the disaster. And that's not what we're doing in 2025. We're not doing that. We are staying in control of our lives by doing the right thing and living the right way, so that we can operate and be at our highest self. Right now, I've done so much good things. I've accomplished so much up until this point, and I can't even enjoy half of it because I kept re-traumatizing myself and taking my focus off of the things that could have made me a millionaire a long time ago. I'm just gonna be honest. That could have blew up a long time ago. It's like every time I almost got there, I re-traumatized myself. And I'm a risk taker. So I was trying to think like, am I afraid of success? Is that why? Like I had to think like, what was I afraid of success? But I deep down don't feel like it. But I don't know what's going on. Like, you know, every time I'm almost right there, a distraction come. I'm curious George and I go with it and take me off my daggone assignment to success, to what God has for me, because I know it's great. I know it's great. Why it's great is because I keep doing what? Falling into trauma. Almost right there, some temptation come to take me off track. The enemy is at me, trying to attack me because I am here to do great things. Can you relate? If you have a story similar to mine, do you think that's not happening for you? You are destined to be great, just like I am. God put his people on earth, every last single one of us, to be great. And the enemy is not happy once we realize that. So he gonna try everything in his power to stop it. So every time I was almost right there, here he came. And I lost the battle because I wasn't vertical. I was all up into the world and all of the shiny objects I was chasing and I wanted. And now I can't even enjoy everything I built. The product line, that's the book I have back there. If you guys see my little mannequin, she's sitting there with her queen crown on. I may start using her in some videos. I have other books, products, courses. I started a mentorship. I had to put it on hold. Traveling hairstylists, doing hairstyles, you know, traveling, fashion shows, you know. I built the clientele, I moved, lost the clientele, had to build it again, moved again, build clientele up again. Like, who wants, like, what? Why are you making your life so dang hard when it could be so easy? It could be so easy. God is the source of all wealth. 6 days shall we labor and rest on the Sabbath. He created the earth in 6 days by speaking. Also, our words are so powerful. That's another way that I caused trauma to me because I didn't realize how powerful words were. So I used to just say stuff that was not the best to say, okay? And that shapes your words can shape your life. So it don't matter how much accomplishments I have or how many things was working out for my good. If I talked against it, how long is going to last? So that's powerful. And a lot of it can come from what? Re-traumatizing yourself. Having to heal yourself all over again. When you go through that process, of course, you got stuff coming out of your mouth, all types of, because you're hurt, you're in pain, you're not your normal self. And so that also caused another delay into you being great. And so if you didn't learn anything else from this video, please remember this. Never neglect yourself for any shiny object, any person, place, or thing, family, friends, relationships. Always stay in tune with God. Read your Bible to learn about who he is and the promises he has for us. The Bible tells us exactly how we should live to receive his blessings and promises over our lives. I never knew it the way I know it now. I'm kind of a little upset that I knew it so late, but still not that late because I knew it before I left this earth. And the one thing I really, really want to do is to fulfill my purpose, my assignment to its entirety at its highest level before I leave here. So whatever it is I have to do, I'm doing it so that I can please God, because we all have an assignment here on earth. And I want to fulfill my purpose. And I'm sure you want to too. If you're watching my videos and you're following me, that is something that you desire and you can do it. You have to be disciplined, okay? You have to set and keep your boundaries. You have to love him so much that you will naturally love yourself because of what he says about you or how he loves you. And you love his people, how he loves you and how you love you. So hopefully that helped you in some way. And so we don't want to have another video with, you got to heal yourself again, okay? We don't want another video like that because we doing things God's way. And yes, there will be trials and tribulations and challenges. But if we do it God's way, guess what? We're going to be like, bloop, 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 bloop. Shh, 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 shh. I mean, we're going to be fighting back and dodging all the life challenges because we know how. By emerging in his word, he tells you how. When you're not one with him and you don't live according to his word, you out there by yourself. And it's no fun. It's no fun. Will he come save you? Oh, he came to save me. He sure will. But how many times you want to need saving? That's the question. How many times do you want to need saving? Do you want to be happy? That's another question to ask yourself. Do you want to be happy? That's another song. I think you could type it into whatever you got. Spotify, Apple Music. Look it up. Do you want to be happy is a gospel song. And listen to those words. I have that like every day on my playlist. Like, do you want to be happy? What would you let truth do for you? This is my truth. And so I hope this video blessed you in some way. Please write in the comment box below. Give me your thoughts. Share your experience. We're all here to grow and learn from each other. God always wants his people to work together, not against each other. And so like, share this video. You never know who it can bless. And don't forget to subscribe for more beautiful content around self-love, self-care, healthy hair, wellness, and wholeness. Until next time, bye, beautiful.